So Tafshin Ein Zayin, right? Pesach, Bezrat Hashem, Haba Alenu Tova. The coming Tuesday is Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right? And as we know, the month of Nisan is a month that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did miracles for us. Many Nisim V'Niflaot came for us, and as we know, the whole month is a month that we don't say we try, we have to be, these are days of joy and happiness. Beginning of the month, the Nesi'im of each tribe brought Korbanot, and then we have Pesach, and then Ezrat Hashem, like it says in Rashi, Masachet Rosh Hashanah, second Perek, the second Beit HaMikdash, the third Beit HaMikdash, which is the second real Beit HaMikdash, the real Beit HaMikdash, will be built on the night of Pesach. Yeah. It's just going to come down on the night of Pesach. And when are we going to inaugurate it? After Pesach. So the end of the month of Nisan is all going to be Yemei Simcha, days of joy and happiness. So the whole month, therefore, is considered a month of joy and happiness. And therefore, we don't say vidui in tefillah. Tefillah, there's a lot of things that are not said. And also we do not make a ta'anit for the tzibur in this month. But if a person wants to have a personal ta'anit, according to those who have a custom to fast on the day of the wedding, they could fast, or a person wants to fast, although it's just a minhag, it's a custom, but it's a good custom. A person fasts for the yahrzeit, for the memorial of the day of his mother or father passing, they fast on that day. They could fast in the month of Nisan as well. What else do we do as joy and happiness? I know some people, it's interesting, they have a custom, they don't eat lentils. The whole month of Nisan, they don't eat lentils, because lentils are food for avelim, for mourners, and they say the month of Nisan is a month of joy and happiness, and therefore they have a custom not to eat lentils. I know people that have lentils in cholent every Shabbat, so that's already. If you feed them those and you tell them you got lentils in it, they won't eat it. They won't touch it.
Wait, quick question. Sorry to interrupt. So if there's no Tanit Tzibur, but then what about Tanit Bechorot? I know we're jumping.
Right, that's not Tanit Tzibur. That's just for Bechorot. The Tzibur means the Tanit on the whole on the whole community, and the whole thing. Tanit Bechorot is just for the Bechorot, and they try to get out of it anyway. Nowadays. So that's a little different. Also, like it says in Gemara Masachet Berachot, the 9th Perek, it says, Hayotze b'yimei Nisan, v'ro'eh et ilanot, and the one who leaves goes out in the days of Nisan, and he sees trees in their blossom, he has to make a beracha, shelo chiser ba'olamo klum, that Hashem is not missing anything in the world, and he made beautiful creatures and beautiful trees, so that Bnei Adam, so that people should benefit from them. That's the beracha. It's a beautiful beracha. It's only said once a year, and it's our chance to say it starting Tuesday. The ladies also, they have there's halachot that they should say. There's no. It's not a mitzvah aseh she'azaman germa. It's a shevach. It's a praise to Hashem, and therefore women as well should say it. You could even say it at night. As the Gemara quote is saying, Hayotze, that means one who goes out of town, who goes to beautiful orchards, beautiful gardens, and he sees the thing. So it's outside of the town, city, but if a person who's going to go out, drag all I remember when I was in Kollel in Israel, that was the day that the Kollel was off already, the first day of Nisan. So all the friends, one of the guys had a car, he says, guys, we're going to go outside of Yerushalayim, and he had this beautiful place, all these almond trees and everything that was all budding. It was a whole minyan of us, and we went out there and did it. But the other years I used to go with Rabbi Badia, pretty much every year to this, right down the street from him. This person had, especially for this reason, he planted a bunch of trees in his yard, and Rabbi would go and make a beracha and give him a couple of good smacks in the face, and he was in seventh heaven. So the beracha, he said, is better to have at least 2 trees. They should be fruit trees, and not just some cute-looking trees that have flowers on them. And as long as they have the flowers, as long as the fruits didn't come and the flowers didn't fall, we could make the beracha. So that means, I don't know, this beautiful weather we're having recently. I don't know how kind the weather is going to be on the flowers on the street on the trees. Might be windy. They might all fall off, or they might who knows what. I remember one time in Yeshiva in Baltimore, near the dorms, there was a beautiful tree, and it was like blossoming after pouring. We were all happy. We were in love with that tree. And then a week later, we had a snowstorm. All the flowers fell off. We were so sad, I was coming to LA, so we could. I had no problem making a baracha, but it was. We were all sad about it. But here, Baruch Hashem, it looks like the weather is not. I don't know. Maybe it's fine. But the earlier the person makes a baracha, the better. Okay, so that's as far as the halachot of side halachot that have to do with this. By the way, the month of Nisan is also known. We're talking about budding and flowers. Is also known for neshamot. There's a lot of tikkunim for neshamot. Mekubalim, right? A lot of different things for the neshamot that a person should say in the month of Nisan. Somehow there is a rejuvenation for the neshamot, and our prayers will be accepted. The Ben Ish Chai has a special tefillah to say every single day of the month for neshamot. There's a lot of things that go on with this. I think, in the Birkat Ilanot also they have a special tefillah for that. But really, a person who doesn't have time or can't, all you need is just to make a baracha. You open your siddur, you're gonna find about 4 or 5 pages of tefillot and mizmorim and everything. It's okay. You just have to say the baracha, and that's it. There is Baruch Hashem. There's a lot of different yards, front yards in people's homes that we could just pass by and make your baracha right there. It just takes a few minutes. You just need to have your siddur handy. Yes.
It has to be 2 different types of trees, or no?
It could be 2 of the same.
Oh, okay.
As long as you have 2 trees, it's fine. It could be 2 lemon trees. Plenty of that in LA. Yeah. I remember there was a place in the Eretz Israel that we used to go. This guy made a nice sign, lit up sign by his house, and he had a bunch of, and he said what each one was. It was nice. Everyone in the neighborhood used to go there. Okay, let's jump to preparations for Pesach. So first of all, the quote from the Ari HaKadosh that one who is careful with chametz throughout Pesach, not to even have a little bit of mashru. Mashru means a minute item of chametz in his possession. He should know that he will be promised not to sin the whole year. Right? Gets rid of chametz. He's careful with it, so he will be promised. He says that he won't sin. So the more a person sweats and works for this to make sure that he's getting rid of the chametz, the better. But let's remember, dust is not chametz. You want to clean up? That's fine. It's perfectly fine. Rabbi Levi Chaim says, and your husbands aren't korban pesach either. But if a person wants to clean up, it's great. But we have to know that we're cleaning up. We're not doing pesach stuff. It's not a Pesach, we're looking for chametz, especially when we have little kids, they have their cereal in many places, and you clean your room, and slowly you're getting rid of the chametz, so they in the back of their mind, I'm not gonna have this chocolate bar, I'm not gonna have this yummy candy, so they're gonna try to hide it in some places. What do they know? Poor things, He said, "What do you have this in your room?" He said, "I'm looking all over. I don't find anything. I'm going to make sure I have these, to save it for later." This happened to us. I'm sure it happens to everyone. We gotta be careful, from before, to slowly get rid of it and be on top of it. Because I'm telling you, the night before Pesach, you will find in the room still chametz, even though you cleaned up a few times. You made sure, but it'll be there. So we have to be extra careful, about these things, to concentrate them into one place and to as much as we can, and then again look for it again, because sure enough we'll find it. I remember we were a guest somewhere, and they went to get a towel from the linen cabinets, and right under the towels there was a bunch of these wafers that they already checked there the night before. I don't know how the kids stuck it there, like, to make sure they have, they have to have like, something stashed away for later. It happens all the time. So we have to be extra careful, and yes, as much as we can, to make safeguards, not to have these. When we buy the things that we buy for Pesach, we should be very careful where we're going to put them, right? Make sure you put them in the place high up, so with Hashem, the kids won't get to them, especially when they're little kids, they get to everything, and you got to make sure that they're in a safe place, the stuff are in a safe place, and we have to make sure that they are definitely kasher lePesach. Just because we're going to the store and the stores supposedly remove everything that's chametz and they have all the Pesach stuff out, still double check. You can't rely on them. Their workers are like, they're told, okay, put these up on the shelf. They don't know. Things could get mixed up, and we should be careful. We should be careful. Like, sometimes you buy tomato sauce, sometimes you buy something, whatever, some other product that could be questionable, and we're in trouble. Rice.
Yes.
So the Gemara says that rice is not chametz, by the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we all know, although rice does grow when you leave it in water and and everything, it might seem like it's chametz, but the Gemara calls it's not chimutz. It's not considered fermentation. It's considered sirachon. Sirachon means literally means spoiled. It gets spoiled. It's interesting. Bulmakans brings a whole scientific article that there's 3 enzymes in every wheat and barley and spelt and rye and oat, whereas rice only has 2 of those 3 enzymes. It's interesting, very interesting article that I was reading about it. And so rice is not chametz. So why is it asur? Why do some people, a lot of communities not eat it? Ashkenazi communities, Moroccans, and some other Sephardim also, they don't, because in the places that they were, it was problematic, where they would pack the wheat and the barley and whatnot. They would also pack the rice, and many times they were in trouble because they would cook the rice and you would find wheat, barley, in there. And on Pesach, if you find that, it's a problem. Especially it's a problem when the wheat is cracked. Right, that means it opened up, then it's chametz. If it didn't open up, then it's not chametz. You just get rid of the wheat, burn it, and the rice is fine. But who has the patience for these things? So they accepted upon themselves not to eat rice. Not that it's chametz, not to eat rice. If you invite an Ashkenazi guest to your home, you could cook for them non-rice and non-kitniut things, like, they don't eat beans either, in your pot. Your pots aren't chametz. They could eat, what you cooked in the pot, but not that when they're in the same pot, but that pot is being washed and everything. They could certainly eat the food. That's perfectly fine. We do still have to be careful. The minhag is, the custom is that we check the rice thoroughly 3 times, right? Just to make sure that there is no chametz in it. You're not looking for some monster. You're just looking for chametz. You gotta make sure that it's the barley. Some rice kernels might have they might have left it with it's a whole rice. It's a whole grain rice. That's not barley. That's not wheat. So we're looking for that. Of course, when we clean rice, we're looking for rice that has hole in it that might have bugs. That's something else. But some rice they didn't get rubbed off well, and a little bit of that skin is left. That's not a bug, and that's not a problem. You know that there's some purple thing there on the rice. That's not an issue, and so we have to know these things, they go through so much processing, where they bleach them and they put vitamins on them. So the vitamins are what cause the problems, because sometimes to attach, they want to enrich the rice, so they want to attach it to make sure that it gets attached. They use some form of starch, and the starch sometimes is from wheat. That's what they use. They use the wheat starch to attach the vitamins to the rice. That's where the problem comes.
Why washing it will make it go away?
Yeah, the washing it will make it go away.
Water dissolves starch.
It doesn't make sense though.
That's how it works. They have tried it in labs, in the Starkey labs. They have tried it, and this is how they say, like, it'll go away. Leave it, wash it well, and that'll go away. Sometimes they just put oil. They just put oil on it to make it nice and shiny. You know that with rice. So much process.
So we could buy enriched. Rice?
Try to buy not enriched. Whole
All the
wheat.
basmati rices are not enriched, like those aren't enriched rices. It's more like American rice.
Rice.
Oh.
The American rice is more of a problem.
Yeah.
Do people buy it for like tali? Yeah, they
Really?
mix up with
Oh, we learned
Weird.
something new.
So
And
the
then we
basmati,
check-
they won't do it because it's going to take away the aroma of the basmati rice. Now, brown rice is not enriched either. Right?
But if
So-
it is enriched, it's okay to use as long as you wash it.
I mean, once you buy the ones that are not enriched.
There are no vitamins.
But if you do, certainly before Pessach, try to wash them before Pesach. And even on Pesach, you can wash it well. And it's all cold and everything with cold water. And that should be
And
fine.
you said to check them 3 times. That's before Pesach or on Pesach?
You could even do it on Pesach.
Oh, I thought you made a deal that we should do it before Pesach. No.
No, not necessarily.
Ah,
You could do it before Pesach, on Pesach, but why? What if you're gonna find a piece of wheat? I don't know if anyone ever.
No, I'm
No.
I've never found wheat for years.
Yeah.
Fashion is very clear.
Years.
Meliyayin Arab, fu, fu,
Years
fu.
I haven't.
As they say. I haven't heard the people finding wheat. Like there's a lot of cases. I remember Obadiah one time said that he was going home and he sees this Persian lady with a pot of rice, crying, going home. He says, "Why are you crying?" He says, "Oh, we're the Rav of the neighborhood," and he said that our food is not good. And what happened was that was a different case. That wasn't the case with rice. They used the year-round pot to cook the Pesach food in it.
Oh.
And he said her daughter made a mistake, whatever. So everybody just sat down and asked her some questions. She said, "It's fine." She said, "Oh, really? Oh," and he was like, yeah. I mean, all the Persians, they loved him. He was the Rav, of all the Persians.
So
And
when you check it before Pesach, should you check it in a Pesach dish or at home?
really, it doesn't make a difference because it's dry and it's cold. It doesn't make a difference, but we do use the Pesach dishes.
I use a disposable pan.
Yes, that makes
I
more
get a
Okay.
disposable
That's
pan,
easier.
lay it out, do my checking, and then put it in Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the reality is, as long as your pan is clean, rice is dry, rice is cold, so both, it's fine. But yeah, disposable, interesting. I don't know what we do at home. So yeah.
Lucky you.
Yeah, Baruch
It's
Hashem.
not we. It's what she. No, I'm just
I'm
joking.
saying, that's we. I don't know what we do at home. That's, okay, so this is the story with the rice that we have to be careful. Now, if an Ashkenazi man is married to a Sephardiya, she should not eat rice at home, right? She should keep his custom, but when she does come to her parents, she's allowed to eat rice. And if an Ashkenaziya woman is married to a Sephardi, then if she wants to keep not eating rice, she's not comfortable with it, fine. She doesn't have to. You're not going to force her to, But if she wants to, it's better she should make it nadarim because the Ashkenazim, they don't eat it because of the chumrah, because they want to be machmir, they want to be stringent on the halachot. It's not like that they think it's asur, although something that is asur. But they should go ahead and do a thing. So again, let's say there's a community that they don't eat rice, and the kids, one of the boys gets married. He says, "Well, I want to eat rice. I don't want to go with my minhag," and so it depends. If he thought that that's the halacha really, that he shouldn't eat rice at all, then he should go ahead and make a hatara nadarim, right? But if he's just following the minhag of his family and he just doesn't want to keep the minhag family, then he doesn't even have to do hatara nadarim. He just could start the minhag of his home to have rice because it's a chumrah. It's a chumrah, so they could do that.
We're talking about an Ashkenaz man?
No, that's a Sephardi Moroccan. Decided that he
Moroccan,
wants,
okay.
yeah.
Ashkenazim can never.
Ashkenazim, it's a custom of their whole of the thing. They can't do it. They can't really change that. Not really. Okay. So that's as far as that. So any other questions with rice? These days, not much questions pop up with rice because that's what it is. Unless they come up with some good rice with good hechsher for Pesach, then we'll know. It's been ongoing for the past few years.
Maybe a bazillion.
What?
They'll become very wealthy.
Yeah, I think
the
so.
dreaded rice checking.
Oh wow! Could you imagine that? But again, let's be very careful with the rice checking. There shouldn't be any kids around. You know, kids are walking around, imagine, with sandwiches.
Oh my gosh.
Right, mommy, what are you doing? Like, you know, I'm checking rice for Pesach. Like, you know, and then she's eating kids. And you
So
don't know.
why can't you do it on Pesach? You said
You
you can.
could.
Oh.
You're not gonna have time. It's time consuming. Like, you know. So do it late at night when all kids are asleep. Like, you know, and it's nice and quiet, and you're falling asleep, and that's the best time.
Is there an age limit for checking this?
I don't think so.
No, I'm saying, how young can your kids hold your checker?
Look, if you know that you know they're reliable, that they're not gonna their hands are clean, they're not gonna be walking around with crackers and cookies and sandwiches around, you're fine. You
Because I
know.
remember as kids we used to have another.
Yeah. I've been checking rice for years.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maturity levels have changed, and being playful, you know, and girls are different than boys, by the way.
It was a family affair. Everyone would sit around, we sit for tablecloth and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But you should know, boys are definitely different than girls, for sure, in this regard. Now, matzah, as we know, Ashkenazi poskim, during Pesach, Ashkenazim do not eat matzah ashira. Matzah ashira is egg matzah. Unless a person is old or a little child, regular adults do not eat matzah ashira, right? Egg matzah, which means that there is wheat flour that was baked with fruit juices, wine, honey, or just oiled or eggs. Hence, egg matzah. No usage of water. Water, if it gets mixed with these things, any of these things, it'll accelerate the chimutz, the rising and the whole chemical reaction. That's dangerous. But we hold that the other things, fruit juices, wine, honey, or oil and egg, these things are fine. And us Sephardim, we have a custom that we do eat this matzah on Pesach. Okay.
Can you still say hamotzi on it?
No. It's mazonot. It's cake.
Yeah.
It is cake.
Oh, that's right.
Now.
So could we have that Erev Pesach?
Yeah, matzah ashira you could have Erev Pesach. That's not a matzah you could be yotzeh at all on the night of Pesach. Right? It's not called lechem oni. Matzah ashira, get it? Ashira is ashir, wealthy, as opposed to lechem oni, bread of poverty that we eat on the night of Pesach. That is absolutely matzah. And with this, we cannot be yotzeh. Therefore, we could eat it on Erev Pesach. But we'll get to that as Hashem. I don't know if we get to it today, but we'll get to it soon. There are some poskim that say cakes and cookies made with matzah flour, right? Person should not do it because it's maritime. Someone watches you baking a cake, like, hey, what are you doing? Our poskim say that it's not a problem because it's known already that there is such a thing as matzah meal or matzah flour. That means it's matzah that was ground into flour. Already all the enzymes are dead and it will not become chametz. And we're not, our minhag is not to keep gebracht. And therefore, we could go ahead and bake cake with it, and it's not a problem of marit ayin, right? So if one wants to bake or make anything with him, it's a thing. I know one of our someone I know, she got married to this Ashkenazi family, and she wanted to impress them. And the first night of Pesach, everybody was in their house. The first year that they got married, and she made knedlach, matzah bowl. soups. Little did she know they're all Hasidic, and
Right.
they almost stoned her to death because
That's
it's
right.
gebracht, they say no, matzah comes in contact with water, it's gonna make it chametz, and oh boy.
So for matzah balls, if you keep shmur matzah, how do we know if the matzah is in
They
the
sell.
matzah?
They sell shmura.
They sell
really?
matzah meal. Yeah, look
It's
for it.
It's just as expensive as a regular shmura machine matzah, but maybe $1 less.
No, matzah ball soup I'm talking
Well,
about.
no,
Oh,
no.
you're talking about?
No. I haven't seen
No,
matzah
they
ball
don't
soup
make
mix.
it.
I haven't seen that, but you could make it.
I don't make.
Right. With the shmura matzah meal that they
But that's a
sell.
problem, right? If you keep shmur matzah, you
If you
can't
want it,
eat.
yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
okay.
Right.
As far as matzah needing to be yashan,
Matzah by definition is yashan.
All of them are marked. A lot of the boxes are marked as yashan. I've noticed.
Yes, because they are. This year there was an issue.
Really?
You guys, I don't know if you guys were
oh
updated.
yes, on the
Remember?
East Coast it was very low.
No, all over.
Oh, yeah.
It was like
What happened? I missed
Rabbi
that.
Herman sent out an alert that they just found out due to the lack of many vitamins in the winter wheat. So they decided to mix in some spring wheat into all the winter wheats. They have been doing this for years, they wrote. And wow, there was a big hold on usage on a lot of things, and slowly they started reporting, this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. And then he says, no, what, the whole thing is off because everything was fine. We take the alert back.
I heard about that.
For like a month and a half, it was pretty scary. And all the mashgichim, everyone was like, he was begging for people for information. Poor thing, it was pretty scary. And they said matzahs also would be a problem. Matzah would also be a problem unless you have something hidden from last year and it still smells okay.
Made in Israel.
Yeah, but something is funny because all the flour in Israel comes from America. So
What?
yeah, Israel
Really?
exports their flours out because they're supposed to be very good quality, and they get it from, yeah.
Feed your own
You didn't
people.
know? No, it makes more sense for them economically, to make more money this way. So yes, but the hand shemura matzah, no, the hand shemura matzah, they go right there in the fields in Israel, and they harvest them, and they give them. That is never a problem. That is never a problem. Okay. So strikes, I think strikes anyway, everything is yashan. So and a lot of the matzahs are made by strikes. So okay, good. What about we're talking about buying things?
Sorry, I don't know if you're gonna go over, but what about like beans and stuff like that? Do we have a problem with anything like that?
Depends on your custom. Some cities they have a custom they don't eat pinto beans. Some have a custom they don't eat any beans. It really depends on the custom of the city. If you don't have a custom about it, so then don't drive yourself crazy. You could have any beans. They're all.
So just go with whatever.
You
my
just
parents
gotta
do.
check the beans.
Make sure you buy them before Pessach, of course. And if there's any, you wash them definitely. Everyone washes their beans anyway, and check them. Check them. The packaging there shouldn't be any problems. Because this does happen. This does happen because in the same facilities that they have different types of beans, they also have barley, right?
I've seen grains and
They also
beans.
have packing barley, so just check beforehand to make sure. Most people do that, they check. before
Check
they-
3 times?
No, just check because they're very discernible. It's very discernible.
If someone has them and had not to have, let's say, certain type of beans, are they allowed to change them?
So then they could because we're not talking about chametz. We're not talking about some they might have to do hatarat nedarim, and they could probably do that. Okay, but I know some people they don't eat. What is that? The cheshbol boli.
Black
They're eating
Black
that.
eye.
The JSOR guy was actually saying that.
Yeah, I think Syrians don't eat, right? Syrians, I think they have a custom. Syrians also have a lot of customs. So anyway, that's different customs, different minhagim. the medications, right? So they come up with a lot of lists. Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Bess worked very hard every year on the list of the medication and the cosmetics and all that. Like what contains chametz, what doesn't contain chametz. The reality is that these things are pagum, right? Unless they have flavoring, they're all pagum. That means they're not really so edible. But Baruch Hashem, these days we're living in a generation that everything, there's a lot of things that are kasher for Pesach. And if a person is just taking some medication because they have a mild headache, then that's not the reason to have just anything, off the counter. We should get, if the person really needs, the things that they're gonna need during Pesach, something, they should get it. Kasher Pesach ones that they're on the list. But if someone chas v'shalom is mesukan, someone is dangerous, or someone is chole kol gufu, that means his whole body aches, and he has to take this medication, then he has to take the medication. Others that they have to take a medication, because of certain conditions, they have chronic conditions that they have, then for sure they should continue taking the medication. They can't say, oh no, I'm not going to take my medication for the next 8 days. That's ridiculous. Like, putting their lives in danger for what? It's not, we're not dealing with chametz gamur, it's a safek chametz, it's so many different things that go into it. And if a person could take it, he should take it. But we're talking about people that are taking vitamins and supplements and different things that are not necessarily life-threatening, and who knows if these supplements really even work. So that's besides the point. If they haven't kasher Pesach, then for sure we should use kasher Pesach ones. That are Baruch Hashem, so many different companies are making it.
So prescription meds, as long as they're not edible,
right?
You just swallow it.
They're not flavored, and there's a prescription that they need to take for sure. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's get to the preparations of the different kelim, right? As we know, the Torah in the Parashat Matot, right? Am Yisrael went to war with Midianites, and then when they came back, that's when they learned the halachot of kashrut of kelim. It says that yaviru ba'esh, taviru ba'esh. Whatever you went through fire, you gotta pass it through fire. And ach ben nida, I forget the exact pasuk. It says, but you do have to take it to the mikveh. And then asher lo avir babesh, whatever something that didn't go through fire, that means water was used in the usage. Taviru b'mayim, you should pass it through water. That means haga'ala. Okay, so kepol'o kach polto. That's the rule, right? The same way that it absorbed the chametz or whatever isur, the same way is polto. That is how it will get rid of it. So things that a person used, all the vessels, utensils that a person used throughout the year for chametz, you can't use those same pots and pans and silverware and utensils for Pesach unless a person prepares it for Pesach. Okay, so obviously, as we all know, a lot of people like to do hagala. I don't know if you don't need this pot on Pesach, don't do hagala. People think that for Pesach there is a halacha that you have to do hagala and everything.
There's a bracha for it too.
There is a bracha for it too. Thank you. Right. Really, there's a question.
Yes.
Why isn't there a bracha? Why isn't there a bracha for this for hagala? So the answer is that it's not really a mitzvah daseh. It's not a positive commandment. Like, what are you going to say? There's no thing. They could not use this. The Am Yisrael didn't have to use the pots and pans that they got from Midianites. They didn't have to. They could have used their own. If they wanted to use it, then they had to do it. With tevilat kelim, we make a bracha because that's the only way you could use these kelim, these things that you buy from goyim. There's no other choice, and that is a mitzvah daseh to purify it. There's more reasons for it, but yeah, I know people think that there's a bracha for it. Now, If we have steaks, that means like sich, right? What's the better name for it? Spit or skewers, right? That we use for kebab. So there, when you're making kebab, kubide, right, ground beef. So many times in it you have breadcrumbs or just bread, being part of it. That's totally chametz, right? And then, so if you want to use those for Pesach, you definitely, it's not enough to do hagala. You have to scrape it well. You don't even have to scrape it really, because when you're doing libun, you don't have to scrape it like hagala. All you do is just hold it over fire until it turns red hot, and sparklets are coming out of it, and that's hechsher. So even if you don't clean it up, you're good, because the fire will get rid of whatever it is. So just like over there, the usage was without the usage of liquid. It was direct chametz onto the utensil. So too, the way to get rid of it is through libun, and that's hard libun, and that will get rid of all the chametz that is there. Pots, because there is liquid used in the pots, so therefore you don't have to do libun on the pots. Just you got to make sure you clean them real well. There's no residue on it. Sometimes there's like little tiny in the older generation pots. Now newer pots they don't have this. There's some holes, like aluminum pots. There's some holes in them. You got to make sure that they're totally clean. If there is rust, you got to make sure that the rust is cleaned up. Like all these things. And then wash it well with a lot of soap. Once you've done that, then definitely better not to use it for 24 hours prior to Haggalah, and then you do Haggalah. I was just talking yesterday, someone wants to eat kosher now, and wants to make his kitchen kosher. Baruch Hashem, we were going through all of these things on the phone, and he was very excited about it. Good, Baruch Hashem. And so that's the story with pods. Again, if a person doesn't need it,
So how do you
Hashem.
do it? You have to immerse it completely, and so it needs to be.
No, you could do it half. It's not like tevilah of kelim. Tevilah of kelim, the whole thing has to be in at once. But with haggalah, you could, if it's a big thing, you could do half of it, and then you take it out, and then you do the other half, right? If it doesn't fit. Usually we try to get, I think different places. I don't know if they still do. I'm not sure. I think a couple of doors down, they have this big vat, and they have a fire underneath.
They do it on the other side of town. They do.
Oh, they do still have it.
And Beth Jacob is doing one too.
Oh, really?
Why do
In
people
Pessach.
do it? What's the purpose of it?
I guess they don't have the money.
I think sometimes you've made a mistake too, and during the year, and
People just
that's what I heard. One
Oh, yeah?
Jewish person's like they keep it till Pesach.
That's what
Until
Really?
I don't know. Maybe I heard
Okay,
wrong.
fine. You could do it at home. I guess they don't want to make a mess at home. You're right. Maybe they don't want to make a mess at home, like to have all the water
No,
all over the
The
kitchen.
pot was like meat, and they accidentally put milk,
Milk.
and then now it's the time to kasher.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I say the purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Wait. So does it need to be a Pesach dish?
No, once you do Haggalah,
Um,
then you could do whatever you want.
So the pot with the hot water, does that have to be Pesach, or does it matter?
For sure, the pot with the hot water has to be kashered. That means you have to do first Haggalah on that, right? That means what does that mean is that you fill the pot all the way to the top, and you bring it to a boil until it spills over, right? Then you could remove some of the water from it so that it won't continue spilling all over, and then you dip everything in it, right? The idea is that boiling water will extract whatever isur, whatever chametz or isur. Chametz is not really asur. We're talking about right now. Right now, chametz is asur. We're eating chametz, right? So there's a whole question in the Rishonim: is it isura bala or hetera bala? This makes a huge difference. Let's say there's pork. Someone made pork in their pot. That's isura bala. It absorbed something which is asur. Whereas chametz, you make noodles, nice innocent noodles. They're not isura bala. It's hetera bala. It's hetera. Although I'm not taking sides. There are some Rishonim that say no, it's isura bala. The name is on it. It's chametz. Chametz is asur. right? So there's a lot of back and forth. These are halachic terminologies. And it makes a difference when it comes to doing Haggalah, right? When you're doing Haggalah, let's say you do Haggalah, right? With this pot, you dip it in the water, okay? All the chametz got extracted, okay? Now it got absorbed back in. What do we do?
To the pot.
You follow?
Yeah.
Well, it's hot,
Right.
and something hot it absorbs.
Right.
Right. So what do you say?
Put it in
Yeah.
cold water.
That's one of the reasons. But right away, though, when it's in the big boiling pot, there's chametz floating around, chametz particles floating around, and they got absorbed back in the pot. What's the answer? The answer is it's not asur, it's not isura bala. Therefore, you could do it. Therefore, that's why we could do it. The cold water is not a must. It's a good thing for sure. We should do it, but it's not like if you didn't do it, it's asur. It's taref. So anyways, I'm just saying a lot of halachic concepts here, but the idea is that we have to understand that first we've got to make sure that the pot is totally, absolutely clean, and then when the pot is boiling, you dip it in and you take it out.
First, you have to make sure your stove is kosher passing.
No, not necessary.
You have to let go.
No, it's not. You're not being tovel. You're not being tovel. The reality is really, if you want to know, after the 6th hour of Chatzot of Erev Pessach, then it's asur. Then it should really be boiling. In other cases, even if it's not boiling, it's very hot. It's not boiling. That'll also work. There's a lot of leniencies on this, but we won't go into it. Let's just take it
So
standard.
let's say your pot is not big enough. Can you pour it on?
Irui, no. The way the isur, the way chametz got absorbed into your pot, was really through keli rishon, not through irui. So we have to do in a keli rishon.
So let's say you have an urn.
Ah,
So you didn't technically cook.
urns we're gonna get to. Right, you're right. The urn is just usually water. Sometimes you might put your challah on top of the urn. No one does it anyway.
Like things splash, like when it's just sitting on the stove and you're cooking or frying, then the oil splashes on it.
Okay, is the oil chametz? Not really. Schnitzel. Okay. I'm saying it might happen. Who knows? Who knows? Like when, how, and even then, that's fine. So if a person wants to use their urn, yeah, with the urn you could do irui. If a person wants to, I'm having a question whether we have to do anything with the urn,
Nothing.
right?
Just wash it.
Just wash it.
That's it.
But I do it. First, make sure you look. Urn. You have all the deposits. The best thing is, as we know, citric acid. Boil it up. It'll get rid of everything. Maybe you don't have to do it a few times. Get rid of all the white stuff, all the, and then you fill it with boiling. You fill it with water. Bring it to a boil. It starts boiling. Then you're good. That's it.
You let it come down, you mean?
A little bit, and you're good
Is
to
the
go.
electric one?
Yeah.
You have non-electric.
No.
Yeah, I have the one on the stove.
You have the one with the coals, old samovar.
No.
She boils on the
I
stove.
put boiled water on the stove in a
Kettle.
pot.
It has a little.
Oh, you have a little.
Persian
Oh, it has a
Jews.
faucet in the bottom.
Yeah.
Those things are dangerous
Really?
around kids.
You got those from Israel?
Here.
Those are very Persian-y.
Ugh, it's the best thing.
Really?
I'm afraid to use one.
Why wouldn't you use the electric?
Cause
This is the
I
21st
don't have counter space without cabinets on top, and it doesn't it steam up and